Greetings and salutations. This is Passionate Bliss, and I want to tell you about my walk through the Love Island streets today and what I saw going on in the villa. Okay, my takeaway from the episode with the recoupling are these. Number one, something I stated from the very beginning, Corbin is an industry plant. Number two, Melanie is putting on. And number three, the Casa girls. I don't like them. And my vote results. Okay, first of all, Corbin. Corbin being the industry plant. I said several videos in that Corbin was an industry plant because I could see from the start that he was there to save the OG girls if they got in trouble. And he did it twice. So when that happened, I saw that consecutively happen. I said, oh, he's the industry plant that is here to keep production from having to be obvious when they save the main cast members like they did last year with Nicolandria. They had to flat out make something up to get those two back in the villa. And people complained about how production manipulated it. It wasn't a real relationship. So this time they set up a plant inside on the cast to help them carry out their agendas without looking too obvious. But if you know what you see when you're looking at things and you have a discerning eye, you can see a pattern form when it forms, especially if you're on the outside looking in. It's very difficult to see these things when you're the one involved. But I'm the bird with the bird's eye view. So I can see clearly that Corbin is an industry plant. If we look at his trajectory on the show, his development on the show, his actions on the show, it indicates to me that he's the plant. A lot of y'all feel like Zach is the plant. I don't believe Zach is the plant. I do believe that Zach is who they have propped up to win. For some reason, they fell in love with Charlie last season, and they brought him back 3 different times. He was on, Love Island Games. He was on the show. He came back to After the Villa. For some reason, they love Charlie, and they brought him back to this franchise 3 different times. And now here they are this year back with his brother. So apparently they want Zach to win, but he's too creepy to actually win. Also, I believe he's a gay man. You can't win on a love show when you're a gay man and you're bamboozling a woman. My personal opinion. These are all my personal opinions. And so I believe that production wants Charlie to win. They propped up Zeta. They propped up Kata and Zach this entire time. And they keep trying to shove them on us as if they're a legit couple when there's nothing going on between them. And so, back to Corbin being an industry plant. Zach is not the plant. Corbin is the plant. Look at his actions. Since he's been on the show, Corbin has saved Kenzie from being eliminated. When Mel got separated from her couple, he then rescued Mel from being separated from the show. Then, now if we look at his choices, they all serve production. Let's look at his vocabulary. Since Corbin got in the building, he has not spoken in anything larger than monosyllables. Me, Corbin. You, Kenzie. Can I have a kiss? That was the extent of his conversation style when he first arrived in the villa. We called him a robot. We called him Chat GPT. I personally called him the beige Terminator. This man had a very limited vocabulary when he came in there. Now all of a sudden he can be the deepest one on the show. He's the only voice of reason regarding Sincere and Melanie. This is somebody who could only say, I look good, you look good, you just like me, you almost perfect. And now he can lecture Sincere on his character. Come on. And if you also look at what he did with KC, he came in and befriended KC. And he began to ease him into that red pill rhetoric. And he started him with complaining on Melanie. I'm DJing in the bed at night. And what does KC do? He starts criticizing his couple. KC was in the winning couple and he knew it. At one point he said to Anaya, we the best couple in here. He was winning and he knew it. He was on task. Corbin was sent in to destabilize that relationship and to get in Casey's head and turn him against Anaya. Then we see Casey all of a sudden start complaining against Anaya. Because Casey, let's make no mistake, he never liked her. He never liked her, and he always intended to do what he did to her. But he was smart enough to keep it to himself. Because even though he was complaining, the guys were saying, look me in the eye. You really like Anaya? They knew he didn't like her. But he was like, Anaya has it all. Yeah, I'm feeling Anaya. Anaya has it all. He knew that she had everything he needed to win. And they were not breaking him from her. So Corbin was sent in to get in his ear as another red pill black man and break down his couple. And he did that. Corbin was prompting him to talk about her. And she never did pick you in the beginning, did she? No more begging for kisses at night. Corbin was egging him along the whole time because production wanted him away from Anaya. Production heard every word that has been said in that villa since they arrived. Apparently, KC was under the impression that the cameras and the mics weren't everywhere. I wonder where he got that impression from. And he spoke freely only to Corbin. He trashed her when Corbin was present. Even Corbin was the one who was in the room when he said, what do you have in common with Tierra? What do you have in common with Anaya? That was Corbin. I have nothing in common with Anaya. Corbin was the one egging him on to break down that relationship with Anaya. Corbin was the one telling him, our girls are going to come back and take over the villa. Because he was fooling Casey into believing that a Casa girl could be substituted for an OG girl and that he could still win. There's a reason why Casey did not chase the first one, Saul. He didn't chase Saul because he did not want that to risk Anaya. He knew that she was the winning horse. But he was willing to chase Saul after he got the letter from Anaya, because he was shocked at that letter, because Anaya apparently has not been expressing how she feels about him to him. He did not know that she had casted him as the prince in her fairy tale until that letter. And after he got that letter was when he was willing to risk, yes, if Saul stays, I will explore her. Because he feels like Anaya's not going to cut me off. She's not going to cut me loose because I'm the prince in her fairy tale story. So yeah, I can explore Saul in her face. But that never had to happen because Saul went home. So that again serves production. That's my second piece why I feel like Corbin is the industry plant. Let me see. And also his sudden metamorphosis in his vocabulary and in his thought process. Oh, another side point. First, Corbin plainly told Kinsey during the heart rate challenge, I'm bringing somebody else. That's why Kinsey was able to jump ship and find her somebody else to save herself. Corbin was working for production when he said that. Corbin knew it was all being live streamed. He knew that. And that's why he clearly said to Kinsey, I'm coming back with somebody else. Casey co-signs with Mackenzie's out the window. Corbin did that on purpose because production wanted her to save herself. They did not want Anaya to save herself because they wanted her away from KC. Because they know what he was. And they know that she's a sweet girl, like for real at some point, looking for a fairy tale in this show. So, production allows Kinsey to save herself by having Corbin state, I'm bringing somebody else back. Now, the switch up, Corbin is suddenly the voice of reason. This is a guy who could only say, me, Corbin, you woman, can I have a kiss? Now, all of a sudden, he can say that he demands integrity from his friends. He lets Sincere know that he's not trustworthy, that his relationship is having struggles, and the only person he's hurting is his couple. Since when did Corbin become the voice of eloquence? Since when is Corbin able to see at the heart of a matter and have more insight than every other person in the villa? Since effing when? Since production wrote it for him. Since him making that speech serves production. Production, I believe, was also surprised that the girls didn't tear into Sincere the way they tore into KC. They were also surprised. So they had to have Corbin come back and say, you don't have no integrity. None of us can trust you. Corbin had to say it. And Parmita, who can only say, we both look good. We the same person. She's the one. She's the only friend that's going to tell Melanie, you deserve better. Parmita's the one. Get out of here. They're both production plants. You can't tell me I ain't seeing what I'm seeing. Okay. Also, my second main takeaway point from production was I want to talk about the Casa girls. This season's Casa girls is the only ones that I dislike and have valid reasons to dislike them. These girls have a dark energy. These girls are evil, in my opinion. These girls, we saw them laugh at Anaya's pain. If you can laugh at another woman in pain, crying on the floor, breaking down, there's something evil and dark in you. There's something sinister in you. The girls that came in with this rah-rah energy. TT from Inglewood, she's the first person to ever be on the Casa recoupling stage and start issuing threats. You gonna come shut me up? Nobody was, they was talking reckless, but nobody was making threats. That's why Nia says, this bad girls club? What's going on here? You're in the presence of low life. That's what's going on here. Okay? Then they laughed during the movie night. They laughed at these women being embarrassed by the men. They laughed at the women, as they were actively experiencing pain and humiliation. They were laughing the entire time during movie night. The only ones who were laughing were those Casa women. That's a dark, sinister energy. And the reason why production picked girls like these, girls who were desperate, girls who were thirsty, girls who were clearly from a lower socioeconomic status, girls who were ruthless, who were willing to do anything, including spread their legs on TV to get the job done, to get this gig, to get into the villa. These girls are a direct reflection of the man they interacted with. Production went and got these low-class girls with great figures and a nice face to come in there and stroke Casey's ego to disconnect him from his couple. They had Corbin working in his head and they had the girls working on his body. That whole entire Casa experience was designed to disconnect Casey from his couple. And they knew exactly where to go, exactly who to get, exactly what to put in front of him to get him to be so foolish as to disconnect from his couple because Casey had the money in his pocket before he went to Casa. Do I think Casey will ever look back over this and see what was done to him? Nope, he's not smart enough. That's why all of this worked. He was never smart enough. He acted like these people were his real friends. He's going to be shocked when he goes home and Corbin's phone number doesn't work. He's never going to talk to Corbin again. He's never going to talk to any of these people again. None of them care for him on this experience. He's being tolerated right now, and he looks like a fool because he is a fool. But these women are a direct reflection of production's opinion of KC. Low moral character. Low level intelligence. Driven by his dick and his ego. He let his dick and his ego separate him from $50,000 and a prosperous career. I don't want him in the Final Four. That apology that Casey gave was clearly written by production. Clearly. Casey was able to say, after all of this time, barely able to talk, barely able to function during any conversation, he was able to say, I had hidden resentment that you were unaware of. Casey's never used the word resentment in his life. Casey can barely read. Since when did he suddenly become so self-aware and so articulate? Cut it out. That entire apology speech was written by production to rehab his image in the end. Because they don't want Casey to be the main villain. They just wanted him separated from Anaya. They want Sincere to be the main villain. Somebody they ain't helping out is Sincere. Do I forgive Casey? No, I don't. No, I don't. Jesus forgives. I don't. Also, you know, the good book says, if you did it to one of the least of these my people, you did it to me. He propped up this woman with Black Love Blueprint talk. We thought we were going to get to see Black Love, and he snatched it out from under us because he never liked her. He always hated her. He always intended to punish her. I don't forgive him. You humiliated and embarrassed a black woman on national TV. I don't forgive you. You and your hood rat need to get out of the villa and go back to the hood where you belong. Now, the last point that I have is Melanie. Melanie is putting on to stay in this villa. Melanie wants to finish out her experience with the girls because she said herself, even if we don't find love here, at least we found each other. Those girls love each other. The core four, who I want in the final four, in spite of Zach, in spite of Bryce, in spite of the men. All of the men were garbage this season. Every single one of them, except for the little boy from South Carolina, which is my hometown. Charleston is a 2-hour drive from me. But he's a white man, MAGA. I know what he is. He seemed like a sweetheart. He's MAGA. He's a white man. He's from Charleston, which is 2 hours away from me. I know what he is. He was the best presenting man on the show, little Caleb and Carl. The only two decent behaving men on the show were Carl and Caleb. Every other man on the show was a piece of garbage. Raw sewage. Melanie has seen that. She knows what Sincere is. Melanie is clocking his tea every step of the way. I'm a people pleaser. Oh, who are you pleasing with, Saul? She's not fooled by him. She's not under his spell anymore. Melanie is putting on so that she can stay. Melanie and her friends are also in on it. They have been tearing Anaya up, saying she's a bad friend. If Anaya can say it would do me a disservice to be in the company of a man who would belittle me that way, if she can say that for herself, why wouldn't she say that to Melanie? Because she wants Melanie to stay to the end with her. They love each other. All those girls want Melanie to stay. These are the things that clued me in that they are all putting on just so she can stay to the end with them. I personally believe Melanie's going to dump him as soon if she can make it to the final. They're trying to get that girl to the final. If she can make it to the final, she's going to dump Sincere the minute she get off that island. She don't even look at Sincere the same when she looks at him. Are her tears real? Yes. Because for some reason she fell hard, she fell fast. I believe Melanie was in love with Sincere. And she has gone through all the stages of grief in front of our eyes. She's crying now, grieving for that fairy tale that she had in her head as well, that she was going to leave here with the love of her life. She was entertaining the same fantasy. And she has finally let it go. The way she's talking, she's totally clocked it. She knows being chosen is not the reward. I believe, would Melanie have put up with all this behavior from him offline? Yes. But this is in your face. This is on national TV. If you cheat on me, I'm going to cheat back. Yeah, she does that. But that's how she can do that. She's willing to pretend like she doesn't notice him cheating. And if he actually gets sloppy and get busted, she'll cheat on the man back. That's her revenge, and she'll stay with him. But she's not going to do that on national TV. He's made a fool of her on national TV. A lot of things people will put up with in private that they cannot put up with in public. Melanie's done with him. The reason I think that she's done with him, the main reason was Trinity. Trinity has made a 180 for no apparent reason. I think you should give Sincere another chance. That's not the Trinity we've been with this whole show. First of all, Trinity couldn't even look up when she said that. She was looking down. She said it with no sort of conviction. But with all the conviction in her chest, she can say, well, keep letting your fine shit make a fool out of you. Why she ain't saying that to Melanie? I think you should give him another chance. She loved Melanie less? Nope. Nope. They want Melanie to stay with him so that she can get to the finals and finish with them to the end. And she keeps prompting Sincere to fix it. Fix it so I can stay, so I can have an excuse to pick you. Another clue that let me know that she's over Sincere is that she was going around saying, should I get back in bed? Should I get back in bed? She tired of sleeping out there. She don't want to sleep out there because ain't no passion. There's no real emotion behind her sleeping out there now because she's over it. So she don't want to get eaten by the mosquitoes no more. But now she's looking for an excuse. Do y'all guys think I should get back in bed with him? She need permission to be told when to get in bed and when not to get in bed. Cut it out. She wanted an excuse to go get back in that bed because she don't care enough about him to sleep outside in the mosquitoes for him no more. And when he picked her, she accepted the speech. She went up there, and when she got up to Sincere, she gave him a church hug. She don't want to hug and kiss that man no more. But she will do it to stay on the show with her friends because she wants to finish out this once-in-a-lifetime experience with her friends. So I believe that Melanie is now putting on, and the girls are help putting her on. King Kada is in there. Y'all call her King Kada. She ain't been a king since she first came in. But Kada is up there cheering for Team Sincere. What's there to cheer about? She used Sincere's name as an insult when she talked to Melanie. She said, girl, you were giving, when she talked to Kenzie, girl, you were giving Sincere. They know he's low life. But they have to pretend that he isn't so that Melanie can stay. So those are the things that, I don't give, point by point recounts of the story of the episodes because a lot of y'all are doing it already. But I try to point out things that I feel like I haven't heard the other content creators. So those are my takeaways, and that's why my videos are always called Think Pieces. Who did I vote for? Of course I voted for Carl and Anaya. I'm going to vote for Anaya to the end till she's no longer there. But what I don't want people to do is get sidetracked by the fact that Sincere is the biggest villain that I want to punish Casey more than anything. I just hope he don't have enough fans to get him to the Final Four. I don't want to see him and this woman in the Final Four. I don't want to see no romantic date set up for him after he made a black woman cry on the floor on national TV. I don't want to see him in the finals. He don't deserve a date with that thing that he brought. I'd rather see Zach than Casey. I'd rather see Sincere than Casey. I'd rather see Bryce, who I don't think like Trinity. I'd rather see them. I would like to have Bryce and Trinity have the money because Bryce and Trinity need the money. In particular, Trinity needs the money. I'm going to vote for Carl and Anaya because you have to be true to my vote. But Carl don't need the money and neither do Anaya. I want them to be number 2. I want Trinity and Bryce to win. So I casted my vote for them. And I hope to God that y'all did not vote for Casey because you forgave him. He did not write that apology. Production wrote that apology. And the apology was not to Anaya. The apology was to us. They're trying to rehab his image. They want you to forgive him. Don't. Let me know what you think below. With that being said, y'all have sweet dreams and wake to find them all real.